Hi guys, Nicola here from ArxangelRC, and today I will be reviewing and testing the new Eachine VR-007 video goggles. Since they have that 007 in the name, I would expect nothing less than a James Bond performance out of them, right? Got them from Banggood for a steal. You can find the product linked in the description below. The goggles come pre-assembled. The kit also includes a cleaning cloth for the lens, two batteries and a charging cable for them, the standard 5.8 GHz stick antenna, and the user manual. The batteries are actually pretty cool. They're about the same size and have the same connector as a standard 9-volt dry cell, but are actually 2S lithium batteries with built-in electronics to regulate charge and discharge. You can charge them through the micro USB connector on the bottom and the provided cable. Once the battery is plugged in, the LED indicator on the side will light up to provide a charging status. A full charge should take about an hour. You can find the link for those in the description below as well. The goggles have a nice head strap with a pocket for a battery. The front has an excessive amount of soft padding which makes them very comfortable to wear. And don't forget to remove the protective foil on the lens before use. The 40-channel integrated receiver features an AP-SMA connector, a status LED, and a button for channel changing. Sadly, there is no indicator to show exactly which channel you're on, so you'll just have to keep pressing the button until you find your video signal. All you have to do now is mount the antenna, slide the battery in its pocket, and plug it in the goggles. Once the monitor is powered, you can use the three side buttons to adjust any of its settings should you need to. Now you can use the receivers button to search through the channels until you find your video signal. So it's basically that easy, and we're now ready to go and test these at the field. Would be interesting, should be too. I use my Tech Sumo flying wing for this test. It has a 200 milliamp AOM-wave video transmitter, and I installed a matched pair of CP antennas on the plane and the goggles in order to make sure the antennas will not cause a connection problem and alter the results from my tests. I also needed something to compare the goggles to, so I used my DVR with an integrated receiver with an AOM-wave antenna on it. I had my friend fly the plane while I was filming with both screens side by side. You can see the plane is not that far away actually, and here on the left you can see my friend flying it line of sight. Despite that, both devices were picking up a lot of interference for such a close flight, and possibly the goggles were a bit more sensitive to that interference. It has been horrible to fly FPV in the city in the past 2 years without directional antennas on the ground. Just too much interference from internet routers around here, so I decided to stop the test and wait till I was flying somewhere outside the city so I can do it properly. Right, so moving outside the city, I went to an airfield not far away. I've mounted identical receiver antennas on both devices and moved the transmitter antenna from the wing to my Y6 copter, which I will be using for this test. Since my camera will be flying on the copter, I'll be using my phone to record both screens so we can see how the goggles will fare against my DVR. Both receivers are on the same level and we'll have a clear view of the copter during the test. There's pretty much no interference here, so I'm hoping for some good results. So let's get this test started then. The copter takes off and heads away from the goggles. I did some adjusting of the camera angle in order to be able to see well, and off I went. I checked to see that I'm in clear view of the home location where the receivers are and was ready to go further out. So here you can see the feed coming down to the DVR and the goggles from the copter, as well as the video recorded by the camera on board. And please forgive the left-right hunting of the copter, I'm still tuning that platform. So the test was going great. There were some minor black lines on the video, but that is probably a loose ground somewhere in my system, not the goggles' fault. You can see them on the DVR as well. At some point, however, the goggles started behaving weirdly, and I thought they were losing signal when all of a sudden they went blank. I actually thought I'd gone out of range, so I briefly headed back to see if they'll pick up the signal again. Since that didn't happen, I realized the battery had died. I replaced it and now was all fine again, and I turned back around and continued the test. Keep in mind that these batteries will last you no more than 30 minutes each, so I would advise that you pick up a few extras or somehow adapt a larger battery for use with the goggles. So flying at that relatively low altitude, I reached a point where I started losing signal in both devices, so I stopped the copter and increased the altitude. At that point the signal cleared and was pretty much perfect, as if the copter was hovering right next to the goggles. However, at that point I was almost 600 meters away from the goggles, so I thought I'd end the test here. If it can make it out to 600 meters with a usable signal at a low altitude, it should be good at higher altitudes and even longer distances. So I turned around and concluded the test after I landed. And as for my thoughts on this product, well, the DVR seemed to experience less interference, or at least it was handling it a bit better than the goggles, but you have to keep in mind it's a much more expensive product, and I would expect it to perform a little better. These goggles have a very nice feel to them. Fit and finish are of a high quality and certainly feel much more expensive than they are. They are light, they are very comfortable to wear due to the excessive padding on the front, easy to use and perform very well. So for the price, I would say it's a no-brainer at all. That concludes my test for the day. Have a good one and I will see you soon.